It's the Comedy Store Tonight, starring Argus Hamilton. With tonight's guests, Chris Spencer, Brody Stevens, and now, live from the bowels of the world's greatest comedy club, it's the Comedy Store Tonight with the star of the show. Give it up, Argus Hamilton!
Thank you all for being here. Welcome to the Comedy Store Tonight. I'm Argus Hamilton, your host, and I want to especially start by thanking our studio audience for being here tonight, for coming out in the rain. It is a freakish rainstorm season right now in Los Angeles. Last night, they even there's this redneck town north of here called Bakersfield. Last night, they had a hailstorm in Bakersfield. They've never seen hail in Bakersfield. Yeah, they all came running outside all happy. They thought it was raining crystal meth. My gosh. Meanwhile, right here in West Hollywood, serious case going on right now. The Democratic donor, this big donor named Ed Buck, is a subject of interest because 2 black men have been found dead in his home in the last 2 years. And one more time, and the LAPD will be forced to interview him for a job. Meanwhile, Hollywood stars right here in Tinseltown are mobilizing this weekend to protest against President Trump's border wall. Did you hear Michael Moore? Michael Moore is planning a 14-minute hunger strike. He'll never make it. Amazon, did you hear? Amazon announced a brand new special. Free shipping for any divorce over $60 billion. Because I'm a baby boomer, I don't know anything about Amazon. To me, it's still a river. You know. Over in Ohio today, did you hear? A 6-year-old was found with a gun while walking to school. Who still lets their kids walk to school? National news today, just today, Donald Trump dismissed a New York Times story that said the Russians tried to recruit him as a spy last year. Trump called it insulting. And it's also disheartening, you know. I'm old enough to remember when Russian spies looked like Ivanka Trump. Meanwhile, did you hear the big news? Last night, President Trump hosted the football college champion Clemson Tigers at the White House. Did you hear about this? Yeah. Right. Not only did he feed them Big Macs, Burger King, Wendy's burgers, and Kentucky Fried Chicken, he also made Taco Bell pay for it. I have some good news today. Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh volunteered to pay for the border wall by recycling his empties. Okay. Since the shutdown, Mexico has been sending record number of bricks our way, but you can't build an entire wall out of cocaine. The government shutdown today reached its 25th day. When it hits 35, Trump's going to trade it in for a younger shutdown. So the campaign is already underway for the next presidential election. Last weekend, Tulsi Gabbard, the Hawaiian congresswoman, announced she's going to run for president, and Trump actually welcomed her to the race. He said if she gets elected, she'll be the first president ever born in Hawaii. Also, Elizabeth Warren, well, she got angry in Iowa and refused to answer any questions about her lack of Native American ancestry. Republicans need to give her a break. I mean, her Indian name is not Gray Beaver. Well, our hero, Mel Brooks, came to our rescue, comedians. He told Bloomberg News yesterday that political correctness is destroying comedy. And he's right. He's really right. Today you can no longer call a moron a moron. You have to call her Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Unbelievable. Now, this is hot news, okay? Did you hear about the Republican Congressman Steve King? Mm-hmm. He's in really hot water, for wondering out loud in front of reporters why the phrase white supremacy is so offensive. It's already cost him his cooking show. And it's a shame because I found his cornbread delicious. I'm sorry about his language, but you either like authentic Southern cooking or you don't. Meanwhile, Walmart. No, Paris. News from Paris. Paris, did you hear? In Paris, France, they closed their very first nude restaurant last week for lack of customers. Yeah. It's because tourists don't want to see frog legs unless they're on a plate. And finally, did you hear Walmart banned a woman in Wichita Falls who was riding around the store in a motorized cart, drinking wine out of a Pringles can and screaming that she's worth the $60 million. Kathy Lee Gifford is making personal appearances? Well, I tell you what, folks, we got a great show tonight. We really have a great show tonight. We have a couple of really main room crowd killers that are all over the industry. We have Chris Spencer with us. We have Brody Stevens. And we've got a lot of fun right for you. So stay tuned. I'm Argus Hamilton. Welcome to the show, folks. Nice to have you with us.
Oh, hey. Didn't see you there. Haven't you heard? The Comedy Store has merch. Merchandise. Shop.comedystore.com. We've got t-shirts. And more t-shirts. And even more t-shirts. Shop.comedystore.com. Do you like hoodies? I bet you do. Merchandise. I hope you have a permit for those guns, because we've got tank tops. Does your head get cold? Check out our beanies. Does the sun hurt your eyes? Check out our hats. And for the literary inclined, our yearbook will quench your thirst for knowledge. Shop.comedystore.com and fulfill all your retail fantasies.
Welcome back to the Comedy Store tonight. I'm Argus Hamilton, and we're starting the show tonight with a gentleman I love performing with at the Comedy Store main room on weekends a lot. And anywhere we can get on together, it's a lot of fun. He is a crowd killer, ladies and gentlemen. He's got all kinds of shows all over town. He's one of the creators and stars of the Real Husbands of Hollywood, all the TV cable networks. You see him do stand-up. He's hosted his own talk show called Vibe. Give it up for Chris Spencer, ladies and gentlemen. Funny man. Chris Spencer. Welcome to the show, buddy. Nice to have you here. Welcome. Nice to have you here.
This is great. Look at this. Your room is so diverse.
Yeah.
Irish people and Scottish people.
Just like a night in the main room, isn't
Yes,
it?
every night.
At $20 covers.
It's a bitch.
It could be a bitch. Yeah. Anyway, how you been?
I'm great. I'm great. Just glad to be out of that rain.
You're doing Sam Tripoli's show upstairs.
Yes. I love working with Sam Tripoli. He's always great. Matter of fact, my Showtime special, I'm sure all of you guys have seen it, came from me doing a Sam Tripoli show.
It did.
Yeah, so hopefully I'll upgrade and get an HBO special tonight.
Here we are. Well, I really thank you for filling in because Steve Byrne had to attend a premiere of his own movie tonight
good for
when he
him.
found out. And I found it interesting that you asked your wife if you could come here a little early.
Yeah.
What's the married life like for a comedian?
Same shit you just said. We have to, not that I can't just say, hey, I'm finna go, but, just out of the courtesy and to make sure I can play golf tomorrow. I asked, if I could do certain things, just so she, it's just all about communication.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just got to make sure, I didn't actually ask her. I told her in the form of a question.
Oh, how do you do that? I want to hear how you do that.
You don't mind if I go do Argus Hamilton's show, do you? Something like that.
How long you been married?
Nobody counts a life sentence, man. 12, 27, something like that. 12 years.
Wow.
How old is my son? My son is 13. Black people usually get married a year. Because you have to have your kids in your wedding. So my son was 1. Yeah. So yeah.
That shotgun's cold, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. My wedding vows was. She said I'm pregnant, and I said, okay, let's get married.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful scene.
Yeah, it's a beautiful scene. Yeah. I didn't want to be a baby daddy.
Right. You did the right thing.
I did.
Yeah. So that kind of makes you mature a lot faster than regular comics.
You're even more mature because you say mature instead of mature. So I'm going to say mature from now on. Mature. Yes. I guess I'm not an amateur.
Yeah.
So, I wanted a family. You know what I mean? I always saw myself with a family. So I have a beautiful wife and 2 beautiful kids. A daughter who's, my son is 13 and my daughter's 12.
Yeah. Now, how much of that inspired your show?
All of it.
Yeah.
All of it. I used to talk about, being happy, and now I talk about the family. Because it's work, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who have kids and a wife, see, my problem is, we live in Sherman Oaks.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of wealthy. Our kids go to a very private school. It's you may have heard of it. It's on the corner of foreclosure and divorce. And so when you hang out with these people, your kids want the same things as these kids, and your wife wants to do the same thing as their wives, and it just becomes a problem. Like my wife wanted a Louis Vuitton purse. I was like, how much does it cost? And she was like $2,700. And I was like, boo, you need to find a purse equivalent to the amount of money you're gonna have in the purse. What you need is a $38 purse. You don't need a Louis Vuitton, you need a Larry Vuitton.
Yeah, Larry Vuitton.
You need a Michael Kors light bag. Okay, money you brought in last year.
I always thought, this is why I only chase after emotionally unavailable women.
Yes, good for you, yes.
I always felt it was better to have loved than lost than to stay home every night helping your kids with the homework.
Have you ever been married?
No.
What?
I don't go on 4th dates. What are you talking about? It's time to move on.
What era was the best for dating? I mean, I know you said you're a baby boomer. Was it the 70s? Was it the 80s? Where'd you have the most fun?
In the time between Nixon's resignation and Belushi's death, that was the party of all time, from about 74 to 83. And then when Belushi died in 83, right about the same time, AIDS hit. And suddenly everything became very serious.
Right.
And every date was like an agreement and a contract, and you're going to wear this.
Let me get a little blood, please.
Every date is sponsored by Goodyear Tire and Rubber.
Right. It's so funny that you're interviewing me because there's so many questions I want to ask you, especially because you came up with Robin and Richard, and I remember you guys were on the Richard Pryor show, Paul Mooney. I mean, that must have been incredible, right?
Paul Mooney was my absolute hero.
Yeah.
And there was a comedian in the 1940s and 50s named Lord Buckley.
Yep, I know Lord Buckley.
And Lord Buckley was very much above it all and
Yes.
very much the master of all he surveyed.
Right.
That's Paul Mooney.
Absolutely.
And Paul Mooney, he rescued Richard Pryor after Richard cracked up on stage and started writing scripts with him for Sanford and Son.
Right.
Got him to the Comedy Store and really turned him from being a cute little impressionist when he was Richie Pryor into being whom I later called Dark Twain. He turned.
Oh, so he's the one that got him. Oh, is that the San Francisco connection? Because you always hear about Richard going up to San Francisco.
No.
I know Paul is from Oakland. So was he the one bringing him up there to become this other person?
No, Paul just had this influence on Richard,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure Mel Brooks helped out a lot when he got Richard on Blazing Saddles.
Yes.
That's when Richard was going through the transition for that when he made that breakout album, that N-Word's Crazy, and he became the toast of the whole baby boom when he came out with that album, and that was a breakout. That's when he went from Richie to Richard with that.
Were comedians jealous?
No. They were awestruck. They were awestruck by Richard. By Mooney, they were intimidated.
Really?
Because Mooney took everybody's inventory to their face.
Wow.
It was never a great crowd. It was always, they were critically white. Who were your comedy influences?
That's one of them. Of course, Eddie. Damon Wayans took me under his wing early.
Really?
So I was on the road with Damon and all the Wayans. I did movies with Sean, movies with Marlon, wrote a book with Sean, did movies with Damon and Keenan. So they were an early influence on my life. I love watching you, man. Nobody writes a joke better than Argus Hamilton. I don't know if you guys
I tell you
are
what.
a paid audience or you guys are real fans of his, but this dude, and it's such an honor to work. We bring each other up almost every time we work. For some reason, I think they're trying to remake Different Strokes, and he's Mr. Drummond. And every show we're on together.
Well, I have to get out of the building as fast as I can, so I don't feel bad about the huge thunderous laughs I hear right at when you go on.
Well, no, it's usually I'm usually doing some of your jokes that you didn't do.
Well, we have a good time here at the Comedy Store.
Absolutely. How many years you been here now?
Yesterday was my 43rd anniversary of being in Los Angeles.
Wow.
And this is when Mitzi had all the comedians terrified. She was in the back of that room, and on Monday night, she would have her friends around her, like Mooney, they'd be sitting around her. But it was terrifying going
How
up
many
on
times
a
did you have to audition for her?
3 times. Then she sent us over to Westwood. But Mitzi was so picky back then. Jesus Christ could have auditioned for Mitzi Shore.
He wouldn't have made it.
She would say, "Great stage presence, but the Magic Castle is on Franklin."
That's brilliant.
Nice trick with the wine, though. Could you teach me that one? That would really save my cost,
Who used to blow you away? Like, who would you go, I know I have to leave, and he's about to go on stage, I'm going to stay?
You've never seen anyone in your life like Richard Pryor live. Once he got that album done, he would work out for 6 or 7 weeks, every single night in the original room. Mitzi would put together a second show, a 10 o'clock on show, and either David Letterman or Johnny Witherspoon would MC. He would bring up Marsha Warfield, and after Marsha, Richard would go as far as he wanted to go, and then Mooney would be the insurance at the end of the show. And you would have, Johnny Witherspoon made so much money as a doorman working that show when the line would be around the block, paying $100 a table, back when rent was $200 a month with no phone bill. It was action, absolute action. And Richard would park his yellow Rolls Royce next door at the Hyatt
Right next
House.
to yours?
Huh?
Right next to yours?
Pardon?
Next to your Rolls Royce?
No. I had an MG midget.
You can't say that word anymore.
Yeah.
You had an MG small person.
I had an MG little person. That's right. But I tell you who was also good, and this is more line when you're a young comedian. The greatest waste of talent I ever saw as a stand-up comic, the guy who threw it all away, was Eddie Murphy. Because Eddie Murphy was the most gifted, naturally gifted stand-up you ever saw. And the moment he made his first $10 million, he just disappeared into the movies and never came back and did stand-up. What'd you think of him?
Isn't that the goal? I actually, no, we do miss, and I've talked to him several times about him coming back, and he always says he's coming back, but I think it's such a different day. Like, now that, I think he's worried about people putting his stuff out there too early. Yeah. People always got their phones and their YouTube and their Instagram, and so I think now with the advent of those new You seen those little sleeves that Dave Chappelle and Kevin Hart and Chris Rock? They take your phones and they put them in these little sleeves, and you can't record. So now that that's out, we may see the resurgence of Eddie Murphy.
Because for the casual viewer and for our studio audience, at the comic strip in New York, the guys were raised there like Seinfeld and Dom Herrera and Jimmy Brogan and those guys. They said Eddie Murphy would stand out in line forever for that one spot on stage, and if he didn't get that spot, he would cry. I mean, he would go. He just had to have it, and that kind of effort showed when he became this genius on stage.
That's how I felt about coming in here.
Yeah.
I was out front, and they were like, "Argus says it's full," and I started crying.
Well, you know, when I got sober, a lot of people started crying because they figured I might make it after all.
What was your drug of choice? Because you partied in all those eras. What was?
I loved beer and cocaine.
Beer and cocaine together?
Together, absolutely together.
Okay.
Don't want to get dry. Don't want to go to sleep. You got to have both.
Right. Beer and cocaine.
Absolutely. I hated Coke. I mean, I just love the way it smelled. You know?
Right.
Now, we had... The crazy thing about the late 70s, because there's a lot of movies and stuff made about it, was that you made good money back then. Somehow you made good money, but rent was $200 a month here in Los Angeles. Your phone bill was $10,
right,
and that was about it.
Right.
Everything else went right up the nostrils. It was good. That left us way too much money to have fun with.
I can imagine.
And we had fun.
It seemed like everybody was on it too, huh?
It was absolutely nuts. And Richard Pryor, he was the Pied Piper.
Richard Pryor did coke?
He was the one that made it cool. He, in other words, you had to have role models.
Right.
Pryor made it cool. Belushi made it sloppy. And I did my best to run those dealers out. But,
right. You know, it's so funny when I look at those pictures of that. Like, there's only a few of you guys left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what was Mr. Miyagi's name? Mr. Miyagi. What's his real name? The Asian guy of Happy Days.
Oh yeah.
What's his name again? Pat Morita.
Yeah.
Pat Morita, Robin, Richard. Like, you know, I
Sam.
Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see those pictures. I'm like, wow. I must have been.
It's a roll call, and Jim Varney and. There's no reason to get lugubrious about this, but by God, there were some really funny, talented people, you know, and that drugs and alcohol just took a scythe through the whole generation,
right?
And I just ducked it just in time.
You ducked it, right? Good for you. Good for you.
I went to the Betty Ford Center to these rehabs, and they perform miracles.
Right.
In 28 days, they take alcoholics and drug addicts and turn you into sex maniacs and overeaters. It's the Betty Ford Center. I call it the University of Oklahoma. I call it Betty Ford Preschool.
Right.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to UCLA.
Yeah.
I went to UCLA. I graduated, not magna cum laude, not summa cum laude. I graduated lottie-dottie, we like to party. I graduated, and it was a good time. I've never left LA. I grew up in Inglewood, then I moved to Pasadena, then I went to UCLA, and now I live in the Valley.
To which the white guy says, Pasadena?
Yes, exactly. South Central Pasadena.
Oh, that's better.
Don't get it twisted. Yeah.
Jackie Robinson's Pasadena.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jackie Robinson, Michael Cooper's from Pasadena.
Yeah.
There's some good athletes from Pasadena.
Yeah. Well, so you start doing stand-up.
Started doing stand-up
20 years ago?
30 maybe. Doing open mics here. She never passed me.
Mitzi didn't?
I got the funniest Comedy Store story. So I would do rooms, you know, when we had the Urban Night, the Fat Tuesdays, and Tripping on Tuesdays, and you know, we always throw a nickname with the day, so you can know it's black. You know, we be killing them on Wednesdays, whatever. So I was coming in and out, and then one night Eleanor was like, "How come you don't call in for spots anymore?" I was like, "I never called in." She's like, "Yes, you did. You used to come all the time with Alex Thomas and Daryl Heath." I go, "No." She goes, "What are you talking about?" I said, she said, "Your name is on the wall." I go, "No, my name ain't on the wall." She goes, "Shut up." I go, "No." She goes, "Start calling on tomorrow." What do you mean? I'm gonna tell Tommy that you used to be a regular. What? Yeah. I started calling to get the spots.
Please don't tell me she thought you were someone else.
No, I know Eleanor from back then. When she passed and I didn't.
Yeah.
And I started getting spots. I got my name on the wall, and then Tommy got fired, so nobody ever knows. That's True story.
That is the proof that God exists because you murder them in the main room.
Thank you, man.
You just murder them.
And she never liked me, but I wasn't. But I was a different kid. This was 20 years ago when I auditioned for her. So.
What material were you doing back then? Were you the angry young black man?
No. I was very collegiate.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so I think it seemed like she liked a lot of characters at that time. Like it seemed like the black community at the time had this thing. Like Eddie Griffin had this thing.
Yeah.
And
this thing called I Want to Be Richard.
Remember James Stevens III had a thing?
Yeah.
So I didn't really have a thing yet. I was kind of new.
Daryl Savant had a thing.
Daryl Savant, yeah. So I was more of a quote-unquote an improv comic. You know what I mean? Like I was like more like the improvisation club where I was kind of collegiate and just stood there and kind of was more of a monologist.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until I started doing more urban rooms that I started to find my voice.
Right.
And then...
That's like when I go to Cracker Barrel.
Right. I say C-word barrel. I don't want to get in trouble with your people.
I'd be just as nice south of Olympic.
Okay, good. And so then, I found my voice, and then I've been here for the last 8 to 10 years.
Well, tell me when your next stand-up special is.
I'm working on that right now because I've gotten a few offers, but it seems like it's almost more special nowadays when you don't have a special because it seems like everybody has a special. Yeah. So I want it to be really, really special. So that's why I love the OR.
Yeah.
Because I really, really, that room is it just makes you grow.
Yeah.
And I feel myself growing as a comedian. Excuse me. Every day and every time I work there. So I don't know when, but I want to wait for it to be the right time so it can actually be special.
Now, I have a favorite night in the original room because that's where we like to create, because it's something in the main room you feel like you got to give them
exactly,
material.
Yes.
But in the original room, when it's packed in there, you feel comfortable. Sunday night, like when you and I work Sunday night,
yes.
That's the night.
I never noticed the difference.
I'll whisper to you. I'll say, do the new stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a good workout room. Yeah, I just.
Do you have a favorite night in the original?
I don't know if there's a favorite night. I just love the original room any night.
Yeah.
The main room, I go, okay, I got to stretch and get ready, and especially if the person in front of you killed. Yeah. Like if the person in front of you killed.
It's like a gunfight you're getting ready for.
Like if the person in front of you killed in the OR, you're like, well, okay, he killed. Yeah. I'm still going to work out. The main room is lights, cameras. The room is so huge.
Yeah.
And then you feel like you got to give them the stuff that you do when you're actually making, real money.
Right.
Not that the main room still pays more than any comedy club in Los Angeles, but we make more money when we're actually on the road.
Yeah.
And so you feel like you got to really come out there and kill. As in the OR, you can kind of chill.
Yeah.
The belly room, you can chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to wish you luck. I want to thank you so much for doing the show. You're going up to do Sam Tripoli's show right now.
Yes, right now.
And so for our Los Angeles locals or anybody visiting to LA, check out in the main room on the early show generally on Friday night, and the 10 o'clock show on main room. He and I are back to back, and don't miss us. We have fun.
Don't miss the new different strokes.
Give it up, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Chris Spencer, ladies and gentlemen. Chris Spencer. And we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, right after this.
This is my favorite part when you go.
如果你喜欢的话，你可以买这个背心 shop.comedystore.com， 这个是一个 T 恤，好事儿，现在我们有了，还有新的书在里面，款，另外一个白颜色的也，在这个，现在我们有了。可以买这个背心儿，看这个胖子穿的了吗？去看相声和新的帽子款，如果你喜欢的话，你可以买这个胖子穿的了吗 ？T 恤，好事儿！现在最好的相声馆有了新的产品和礼物，新的产品 shop.comedystore.com。
So glad to have you back. So glad to have you back. This is main room killer act tonight. I mean, this is an unbelievable show we got going. I want to bring to stage one of our great guys. You've seen him in both the Hangover movies. You've seen him on specials. He's got his own podcast. He's going to tell you all about it. He's tremendously popular Brody Stevens, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, you got it. Thank you, Argus. It's a pleasure to be here.
What is the name of the podcast?
It's called The Festival of Friendship.
The Festival of Friendship.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a festival and it's friends and we have a great time.
Wonderful.
It's wonderful. That's what it is. It's wonderful and it's weekly.
Now, Eric Oligny works with you on that, doesn't he?
Eric Oligny, I have him book the guests. I have him show up high. I have him...
He helped launch this show before moving on to you and doing other things.
Yeah, he's great at that. He works at at Funny You Should Ask with Byron Allen. He got a gig on the Weather Channel. Yeah. So I see what he can bring, and he's also like a good joke writer, joke teller as well, and he kind of knows what funny is. So I trust him. If you ask him about is a show good, can you describe a particular show? He's good at that. Yeah. So I took a chance on him. You took a chance on him, and now he's thriving.
Yeah. Well, he's another success story through the Comedy Store.
Yeah, that's what these guys do.
Now you are a bachelor.
I'm a bachelor, not by choice. I would like to have relationships, but I got kicked off eHarmony. And
really?
I got in trouble. I got a little, too many direct messages, too much. Got a little too into it. I would settle down, but I honestly feel like living here in Los Angeles, especially with how it used to be, okay, show business is crazy. Now you factor in politics now and so many politically correct behavior. It's gotten to the point where I just shut down. I do my sets, I drive through Laurel Canyon, and I get home and I go straight on YouPorn, which is better than eHarmony, to be honest with you, for that sort of thing.
Yeah, they've lost 800,000 viewers a day since this government shut down.
Oh yeah, there you go. Government, DMV's still going. I don't know how that's happening. And I'm flying to Chicago tomorrow. I hope the TSA goes home. I got to sneak stuff on. I got stuff. I have tweezers. I have scissors.
You've got a 6-ounce bottle of shampoo, don't you?
Yes, I do. I actually shampoo my body hair, for fun. Just because it feels good to buy shampoo. I use it for my body, my chest, different areas. So
different areas.
Sure. I get in there. Because I'm good. I've done a lot of modeling. You're a good-looking guy. I'm a good-looking guy. I've done a lot of modeling in Pakistan. And things are going great. I have an audition. I'm playing Vladi Divac in his next movie.
You're the Brad Pitt of Pakistan, right?
There you go. And I have we have a production office over in Glendale, so I fit right in there. Oh, come on.
The Armenian connection.
You got it. They cross over. I just got my Ancestry.com results in, so I'm 100% Jewish and European. I've got to get in and find out more, but I know that I'm attracted to hummus. I'm attracted to cream cheese. There's a lot of conflicting behavior.
I used to think I was Irish, but Ancestry came back and told me I'm just a drunk.
There you go. It happens. Oklahoma. I'll be there Tuesday night.
Really?
Actually, Saturday night.
Yeah.
With David Spade, we're playing the House of Blues, and I'm going to throw your name around and see what it gets me.
Well, they know me back there, and I love them. They're a great crowd, and they know everything that's going on in the news. They're very sharp.
They have the internet?
Huh?
Are you a Barry Switzer fan?
Barry and I are friends.
Are you serious?
Very serious.
He's a good. He would smoke on the sidelines.
Yes, he would. He used to let me stand by him during the game because he liked my humor columns in the school newspaper. I had a school column called Okie Dokie in the school newspaper at the University of Oklahoma during the Watergate period.
Oh yeah.
And with jokes on the news every day, just like now. And Barry, it was his first year as coach. He liked the column so much he let me stand by him on the sidelines.
Yeah,
I love Barry.
Yeah, humor is a big thing. Like I'm going to go to Chicago tomorrow. Actually, I'm going to hang out with the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah.
I go to their winter convention, and my friend who I grew up with in the San Fernando Valley, he's a baseball coach. He's been a Major League Baseball coach now for 24 years. He's been with the Yankees, the Dodgers, and the Cubs. And comedy and humor is a big part of baseball. People, Tommy Lasorda would always have Don Rickles out there. Joe Torre would always have Billy Crystal out there. And now with the Cubs, I've been able to hang out with them the last 8 years or so, and they let me suit up in spring training. I'll catch the first pitch because I played in college. I went to Arizona State.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I played baseball in college. In fact, I'm wearing a jockstrap right now.
What position did you play?
I was a pitcher.
Really?
Yeah, I was a starting pitcher. I was a relief pitcher. I hurt my arm actually, so I didn't get to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
But I had some good moral victories for myself.
Okay.
So I learned a lot playing baseball, and I learned a lot about group mentality, the psychology of coaching, and I also learned about having a good personality, being a positive teammate, because when I was done playing, they kept me around to coach. They actually liked having me around. Yeah. So I always try to, share that with comedians or share that with other people. It's like, being positive, you can always be around something. So I took that energy into later on when I started doing audience warm-up. I've done a lot of audience warm-up for these television shows, Best Damn Sports Show, Chelsea Lately, a bunch of the Comedy Central shows, and a lot of it is being positive, focusing on the positive, because it's easy to be a downer and be down, but to focus on the positive, and you see the results. It's not like, okay, we're just having a good time and we're losing. A lot of times you're having a good time and you're winning. See, my friend who's the coach of the Cubs, Mike Brazello, he has 5 World Series rings. He's been to 7 World Series. He's in the playoffs every year because he has energy, he cares, and he also has balls. You got to push it. So when you see today a lot of the baseball training, it's all about, can you throw 100? Can you hit a ball 100 out of the stadium? But can you win? That's the thing that these guys are getting away from. They want to have the best stats and the best numbers, but it's about winning. And when you win, then you get the opportunity to really help out other people. Right. When you're part of a winning team, if you're like on the Yankees or the Cubs, you're always going to be associated with that. And then you can have charities, you can have events, you can use it for good. So when people talk about winning, they go, "Oh, that's a Trump thing." It's about being able to help charities, help events, and everybody does want to be associated with the winner, but there's something about winning. In fact, Adam Egett, who's the booker here at the Comedy Store, he went to Joe Torre baseball camp in the San Fernando Valley. He was raised by Borzello's family.
Wow.
Yeah, his family was around Adam all the time. Adam went to Joe Torre baseball camp. So I always tell guys that. I always talk about baseball on stage. Yeah. People, well, who cares about baseball? Really? Well, Adam, we taught how to play baseball. Right. That's why I get these spots.
well, we're talking about your arm. How fast a fastball did you have? Was it clocked?
I got clocked at 91. But back in 1989, that's like probably 93 today. Yeah. But I was a good pitcher. I knew how to pitch. Yeah. I could, I had a good curveball. I had a good changeup. And
did the slider ruin your arm?
I actually, you know what it did? I had bad mechanics. When you throw a baseball, it's not a natural movement a lot of times, the way you're throwing. And I did put extra strain on my elbow. A lot of pitchers have Tommy John surgery. Mm-hmm. I couldn't afford it, so I had Jimmy John surgery. They put a 6-inch roast beef in my elbow. But I was a good pitcher, and I
sound like you had Bob Uecker surgery too.
There you go. That's a good one. He's still going. He was on Mr. Belvedere. I'd take that. But I was a good pitcher. I like to strike guys out. When I would play baseball, I could actually get mad up there and go, "I'm going to strike you out." Whereas if I go into on comedy, I can't really go into that red zone. But I do step it up a notch. I feel like when I get on stage, I can step it up a notch, and I like it when particular people are in the back. If it had been Mitzi or a big time comedian or whatever, I could step up and do it. Whereas a lot of people get nervous. Ooh, somebody's in the room. I like to step up.
It sparks your competitiveness.
Yeah, exactly. And it's pushing positive energy, and a lot of it is just like doing shows, listening. Over the years, they start quoting certain things you do or the way you talk, and so I go, okay, all right, you listen to that. Okay, I keep doing that.
So now applying this to your comedy, okay, you get it now that you've got your stage fee. You're bulletproof now. You've been up there enough to be able to pretty much talk about what you want to talk about. What do you really want to talk about now at this stage of your career?
That's a great question. I think at this point it's just still it's still being positive, of course, in such a negative world. The world's so negative.
You get
So
the contrast.
I keep it silly. I like to keep it silly. Because I'm a big guy.
Yeah.
I'm a big guy, so people can be, he's a little this and that. So I kind of like keep it silly. And I go on the road with David Spade quite a bit. So with him, I kind of set it up for David where I do my jokes, I get to be me, and if the crowd does need a little pushing, I can go that route.
Yeah.
But I like to, I always tell comedians, like, it is about jokes and stage time. You know, I'm always looking to find more jokes that I can tell in any situation, any mood that I'm in, because I have a lot of jokes that depend on what mood I'm in, what time I'm going up on stage, because I get a lot of late night spots here.
Yeah.
You know, I'm up.
There's freedom and challenge in that.
Yeah, there's freedom in a sense that they let me, you know, I get to do extended sets.
Yeah.
I'll do 45 minutes to an hour in front of anywhere from 10 people to 15. Sometimes we get 50 people in there. And so, but when you go on, you're talking with Chris about going up in the main room. When it's packed in there, you got to give them that. You know, they're spending money. They're expecting something, not down the middle, but they want to know what they're getting. So that can kind of take me out of my comfort zone at times. And I feel like, how do you solve that? By getting thrown in and doing it, and also writing more jokes.
Yeah.
Actually taking the time, like I used to more, to go to the coffee house, listen to the jokes, and actively listen and write and tag.
Is it dating now, the world around you? What is it? What subject are you into now? Los Angeles?
It's more usually about me.
Yeah.
It is about my growth, where I'm at, what I'm doing, but I do a lot of crowd work. I'm very I can just kind of play off that, and it's, I don't deny myself that. Some people say, crowd work, sometimes it's a shortcut, but I do the crowd work and I piece it together.
Well, when you work late, you've got to be good at that.
Yeah, I have to do that, and plus it's from doing audience warm-up.
Yeah.
So, and I learned that with the audience warm-up about being positive. Like I always comment on the crowd, arms crossed negative, you're slouching, what did I do wrong? And I never go into the zone, the red zone where I'm angry at them, I'm poking fun at them. Well, my crowd work, I tie it together. Oh, you're from Chicago. Boom, boom, this guy's from Chicago. And honestly, a lot of it, what I've gone into, yes, I have gone into like being, I'm into astrology, I'm into numbers, I'm into numerology, I'm into Year of the Dog, which is still, it's Year of the Dog. I'm a dog. I was born in 1970, and that goes through February 4th, actually. So it's still Year of the Dog. So I'm into astrology. I'm into because I feel when you're into numbers and you're into Gemini talk, you're not going to offend anybody. You know, I don't want to, nobody's going to come at you for saying, that's offensive. Kind of like stay out of it. And then I put the numbers together, and it does make a connection. And I do feel that I was born Jewish, raised Gemini. That's what I like to say. And I went, my family's from New Mexico. That's where my grandmother
Jewish in New Mexico?
You got it, pioneering Jews of the Southwest. My grandmother was born in Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Next year in Albuquerque.
Yeah, there you go. Or Santa Fe. I'm more into energies. Santa Fe has the energies. So I've been doing a lot of that, the connections of the energies, and then the Southwest, and then me going to Arizona, and then Las Vegas, and I'm just tying it all together. And then Laurel Canyon, and then talk about the Comedy Store's haunted. So I tap into all that. And the crowds, they might not get it right at first, but they start picking it up.
Yeah.
And I believe it, and then I go in to say, hey, the Chicago Cubs won the World Series. I was there. I pushed that through. Visualized.
Yeah.
I sold a show on HBO. I visualized it in the shower. I sold the same show a second time on Comedy Central. Visualized it. I got my spot. I've been doing the late. I never had main room spots. I would always be doing original room upstairs after the hump, kind of getting ready for Don Barris. Usually after the hump. And then I was booked to do La Jolla Comedy Store.
Oh.
So Tommy, the former booker, said, why don't you go in the main room to spread your wings a little bit, do some extra time, because I'm going to do a little more time down there. So I did a couple nights in the main room. Then I went down to La Jolla. It went well. I came back figuring, okay, I'll just go back to the original room. No, he kept giving me the main room, that last spot. And I just said, okay, I'll do it again. Did a half hour, 45 minutes. And then people were enjoying it. The sound guys enjoyed it. The other comedians enjoyed it. So I did that for like another year or two, about a year or so. And at that point I said, this could be a special. I mean, it is comedy. It doesn't have to be packed. It doesn't have to be a theater with busting audiences. It can be a small room that's just been blasted out. And I said, this could be a special. So then again, I just started visualizing, manifesting it. Yeah. And I got my manager and agent to help out to make this special happen. So I ended up shooting a special in the main room, recreating essentially that late night spot. And it's available on iTunes. And if you watch it, it's basically, it's not amazing, but it captures, and that's what was my goal, was to capture a late night spot in the main room. And I felt like I did that.
Well, you take a collegial atmosphere or an inclusive attitude up there for going on late. Mm-hmm. And I just was curious about your opinion, how on the opposite side of that spectrum, Sam Kinison, even Paul Mooney, used to dare people to get up and leave with their early jokes, to sort of like sift out the lightweights and just keep the hip aboard.
Oh yeah, I'll do that too. I'll do that too. I could tell, like, especially now since Comedy Store is very popular, and some of these people just don't know. They go, oh, okay, he's going to do his 15 minutes. We'll check it out. And then I go, look, I'm going to go on a little longer. Yeah. I can tell you may not be into it. Why don't you just leave now? Yeah. You can just go. But I keep it positive. They're usually like into it. If they do leave, it's always about like, oh, we got to pay for a babysitter. I go, what? He's in the parking lot? You better go get him, or else, I play around with that. And I had those elements in my special also, like people walking out, and it wasn't scripted. These guys were walking out. That's on the special. And
tell our viewers how they can see you on the special.
I sell it out of the trunk of my car. It's on VHS. Give me $8 and we'll call it even. You could find it on iTunes. It's on Amazon.
Is there a name of it?
It's Brody Stevens Live from the main room. Yeah. And we did it here at the Comedy Store. They did a great job. It looked good. The lighting was. I'm happy with it. A lot of people will do a special. They'll do something. They go, they didn't like it, or it's kind of off the mark. I feel like essentially I got what I wanted to do. Same thing with my TV show that I had on Comedy Central. I had 12 episodes. And
what was the name of it?
It was called Brody Stevens Enjoy It. And that was based off a girl that I met in college at Arizona State, because my freshman year, I was kind of homesick. My first semester, I was homesick for Los Angeles. And every Sunday, my fall semester, I would go to the McDonald's in Tempe, Arizona. And there was a lady working there at the McDonald's. I'd get the LA Times, I'd read the newspaper, and she was just so excited. Her attitude working at McDonald's was like, I'll take a Big Mac combo and a soda. And then would bring it up. She would go, enjoy. And she was just very happy about it. And then I went to Wendy's, the drive-thru around the corner. I get a Frosty, fries, and the double. And I pull up, and she goes, enjoy. She worked at Wendy's and McDonald's.
Were these before the stalker laws?
This is, I don't know who was stalking who, but she had a great attitude.
Oh, yeah.
So when you're playing sports, team sports, I would bring that around the baseball team. Enjoy it, and then everybody on the team starts picking up on it. So I learned early on, I would say at Arizona State, and I grew up at the Valley. I went to Reseda High School. I played baseball there, but I was able to really tap into that in college there, when the team would start talking like me and picking up little phrases. And we learned about also mental skills. We learned about visualization. We learned about positive affirmation. And you know what? It's Arizona State. We had like the most guys in the major leagues. The top, we have sent over 100 and something guys in the major leagues. That's why I went there. I wanted to get out of the San Fernando Valley. Just kind of wanted to go away a little bit. Yeah. And I went to Arizona. I felt like I'd be surrounded by Major League Baseball teams. I wanted to be around the best.
Where they have spring training and stuff.
Exactly. We had spring training, so we always had major leaguers around. And I learned about the mental skills to the point where it made me a better player, a better student, a better teammate, a better coach. And then it's funny, like the Cubs went on to win the World Series in 2016, and their mental skills coach, who passed away last year, Ken Revisa, he was our mental skills coach. at Arizona State. So all of that stuff, all these teams have mental skills coaches, but it's all kind of the same stuff, but it all started with Harvey Dorfman, who wrote the Mental Game of Baseball, and Ken Revisa, and I was lucky back in 1988 and 89 to really see that early on, and then to use that in comedy, to use that here at the Comedy Store. I mean,
Wait a minute. If you could envision a mental skills coach at the Comedy Store, what would they do?
What would they do? A mental skill. Well, I see a lot of comedians that get down after bad sets. They probably have an office in the parking lot. A little. Come to my office. What do you want to talk about? Take a little bit of this. A little bit of that. Let's go for a walk. Get some walking in.
So our mental skills coach is essentially in Bogota.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, how can real quickly? When's your next special?
Well, I don't know. I'm working on the next special. I got to start getting I'm still letting this one go, and I need to actually start preparing for my next special, and I think it'll be more of a traditional special. Who knows? But you can look for that. You could always find me I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, and I do try to keep it positive because I feel like, we're in a negative, people are negative, so you actually don't have to be too positive. You can actually be just a little negative, and you come across as positive.
Right. Brody Stevens, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes!
He's wonderful. He's Brody Stevens, ladies and gentlemen. Watch for his special. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We're back. I want to especially thank our studio audience. They're regular, and I really appreciate you coming out in the rain tonight. And I want to thank our staff. We had a terrific writing session today, putting together that monologue for you. And again, I always want to thank Lauren Taines, owner of Barney's Beanery, for personally producing me. And I want to thank you, the viewers. This show is growing. Spread the word. We live stream every Tuesday at 8 o'clock. We got 2 more great guests next week, and you got Lord Hamilton himself at the microphone. We'll see you then, all right? I'm Argus Hamilton. Bye-bye. Great job, guys. How was that? Was it better?